Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada. Om Bhagavate Shri Swami Narayanaya Namo Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. Om Namah Shivaya. Sarvamangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharanye Trambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Samsita. Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha. Shri Gurubhyo Namah Sadgurubhyo Namah. Dhyanamoolam Guror Murtihi Mantramulam Guror Vakyam Pujamulam Guror Padam Mokshamulam Guror Krupa. Welcome to Daily Satsang. We are continuing our contemplation on the Brahma Vidya that is described by Shankaracharya ji and the great other scriptures and the other great scriptures like Vachanamrut and many others. Along those lines, we are looking at verse number 22 of Vivek Chudamani. And this is a very significant point that is being made here, because our mind is very much engrossed in the chaos of the sense objects. This word here, virajya vishaya vratad. Vishaya vratad is the chaos, and then the dosha drishtaya, the ability to see the limitations, the problems, the damage that is there. So let's give some practical examples. In this world today, one of the biggest problems is addictions, whether it is drug addiction, alcohol addiction, sex addiction, gambling addiction, food addiction, every kind of addiction. What is that actually? That is exactly what Shankaracharya ji is saying here. He's saying that there is a chaos that is generated inside the human being, inside of us, when one is pursuing the experiences of the senses beyond a certain range. This is true with everything in life. Now, is it true that the experience can be compelling? Yes. For example, there's risk in skydiving. You know, people who like to do skydiving, it's risky. I mean, obviously, if the parachute doesn't open, something like that doesn't happen, one could be dead. But is the thrill an extreme amount of thrill? Yes, it is. There's no question. So then let's say a person does that 3,000 feet or whatever. They do it a couple of times. You know what happens? Eventually you get accustomed to it. Then you want to do something more, something at higher height, some different thing. And this is the way Prakriti works. Or this is the way Prakriti binds the individual, or my individual is bound in Prakriti by wanting more enhanced experiences in Prakriti. Someone has a $200,000 house, now they want $1 million house. You know, it's like that. It happens in gambling, which I had some experiences with in the past. Somebody wins $50, now they want to win 100, they want to win 1,000, they want to go further. Is there any end? No. So you cannot find infinite happiness by expanding the experiences of Prakriti. You can have a bigger car, you can have 10 cars, you can have 100 cars, you can have whatever. You have 1 home, 5 homes, 10 homes. It's not possible to find and discover the Atma by just expanding the experience of Prakriti. Let's take the experience even further, just for illustration purpose. Let's say that we have some kind of an extraordinary spaceship. We can go outside the planet. We can see the whole planet. We can go around the whole planet. Or then we can go to the moon. We can even go to different planets in the solar system. We have, wow. But let's say now, this has become commonplace. 1,000 years from now, anybody can go to Mars. Anybody can go to Pluto, Saturn. It's just like how you go from here to your grocery store. Technology is so amazing, it becomes commonplace. Right? Then now let's say you go to distant star. That becomes, wow, this is amazing. This something new all the time. And then it gets saturated. The fact is, any experience, all the way up to Mool Prakriti, as unbelievable as those experiences are, they all get saturated. And that's what Shankaracharya ji is talking about here, and you will see this in Vachanamrut also. He is saying that you must see the limitations of all of this such pursuit. He's using the word dosha drishtaya, through a process of observation of their defects. What is the defect? What is the defect in Sachin? Let's say Sachin has a $90,000 condominium, which is the cost of my place here. And then let's say I said, you know what? I'll be so much happier if I have a house with 4 rooms. So then I work, I do this, and then let's say I get that. But then I get it, I'm happy, I'm satisfied, so many things are there, and then what? And then again I'm wanting something different. The wanting of something more that is not needed in life. See this point. The wanting of anything more that is not needed beyond a certain range of functionality and beyond a certain range of experience, then that wanting is the biggest dosha. It is the biggest fault. It is the biggest defect within us, actually. Because it's not necessary. So the Atma, the realization of the Atma is such that the realization of the Atma fulfills the individual completely from inside. And if the Atma is actually realized, all of the universes, infinite universes, are seen right within you. Where's the issue of going anywhere then? The problem is, the fact is, we are looking for ultimate truth through the experiences of Prakriti. But when we realize that everything is within me, everything is the essence within me, then all such running stops and the experiences are there. But because one is filled with divine wisdom, divya anubhav, there's so much inner energetic and intellectual development from inside that one does not pursue further and further those experiences. Now, interestingly enough, in Devi Upasana, those who are worshipping the goddess, the amazing thing about this Devi Upasana is such, she gives the devotee the full range of experience. Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic, everything. If somebody says, okay, I want $1 million house, and Kleem Bij Mantra karte and sadhana karte and all this thing, at some point that experience will come. It will come. She will show you, you want that experience? Okay, here it is. And then from the experience to realize its limitation. That is what is different in the Devi Upasana compared to all the others. In Devi Upasana, Durga Upasana, Devi Upasana, Shakti Upasana in general, the experience you are looking for, you are going to get that for sure at some point. Somehow, at some point you will get that. Because you want that. So because there's the wanting, so it's called bhukti kehte, it's called Vishaya Ananda, Vishaya Sukh. So you do get that. But if you continue the worship of the goddess, the intelligence comes about of its extreme limitation. And you gain wisdom from within. That is why the Devi Upasana tends to be very tricky, and people have not been successful in that in many ways, because they do get what they want. But if you get what you want, then what? I mean, then you want something else. Okay, so you want something else. So you continue. It's possible to go from one experience to another, and then eventually you get to the point, by the grace of the goddess, you realize that these are just small things I'm playing around with, like child playing with toys. Baat to aisi hai na, that's what it is. I mean, ultimately, all experiences in Prakriti are like, we are like children playing with the toys of Mahamaya that she has provided us. That's what it is. And when we realize that that's what these toys are, this whole Jagat is like a child's play. Gunaditanand Swami said, Akhu Jagat Chokrani Ramat Jevu chhe. That means that just as children are playing with their games, their small toys, and crying and fighting and shouting, the whole sansar, human beings are doing the same thing in a more sophisticated way. So when we see this, then the experiences of Prakriti as extraordinary as they may be, as they can be, one realizes through the experience of their limitation, and there's a wisdom that dawns with him, which then ultimately takes you to Brahma Vidya. So that's why we say Om Aim Atma Tattvam Shodhyami Namasvaha. This is a mantra, right? That is done before the Havan begins. Atma Tattvam Shodhyami. That means may I discover the Atma through my puja. Now, in the puja archana that we do need things in life to take care of us, to make sure that we have enough food, water, clothing, shelter. We have good things to enhance our life, right? But is it enhancement just to, as an example, people who are, let's say, drinking alcohol, right? They may go to a party and maybe have some little bit of alcohol here and there. Okay, that's one thing. But is life enhanced by just pursuing that experience further? You see, so even in like left-handed tantra sadhana, people they use alcohol and meat and all these things. Why is that? Because of the desires for that. So the meditation is mixed inside those experiences. But that's a whole different topic. We'll cover that maybe some other time, what the history is behind that. All I'm trying to say is that simply expanding the experience is not going to open the doorway into the Atma. What it will do is it will give you the height of that experience and also teach the individual that there is hidden pain, suffering, and difficulty, the defects that Shankaracharya is talking about. You know what happens when people drink excessive alcohol? A lot of problems with it, right? When there is excessive attachment towards even a person, there's problems there. When there is, let's say, this sense of just wanting more and more and more, to the point of wanting anything too much. Except the exception would be Brahma Vidya and Bhakti for Dharma Gnana Vairagya Bhakti. That's called Mumukshutva. You have desire for that. If that desire expands further, that is a transmutation of desire. Desire that is not going to harm anybody. In fact, that will liberate the individual. So Tevra Mumukshutva, Shuddha Mumukshutva means the intensity with which one is connecting with God. So then the scriptures begin to filter inside. These ideas that we are talking about one by one, this is not just like something to just talk about. It needs to filter inside. It comes inside of us. Oh, dosha drishtaya. Okay, can I see day-to-day basis where are the defects in what I am trying to do? It's not about finding other people's faults. Where is my defect in my life? And he's saying muhur muhuhu again and again and again. Continue, reflect upon it, because what is our goal? Our goal, you see how he says over here, he's actually described it here. What is the goal? Swalakshe niyatavasta. Meaning the intermediate goal actually is what he's referring to here. That one's goal is to rest in contemplation. Now, what is that? What is resting in contemplation? See, we are contemplating on the worldly stuff. We have so many TV channels and these videos and movies. There's like no end to all that thing, right? Is there rest in that? We have to ask ourselves. If you go to the movie theaters, go to different things, yes, to some extent we watch some things, there's some fun here and there, okay, fine. But if you watch too many movies, let's say you watch one movie in the theater, let's say you watch two more, you get exhausted. You'll be tired. You'll be like, this is too much. It's too much stimulation. So there is a certain amount of experience that is fine. Now, for Brahma Vidya, the resting in contemplation is the ultimate, is the higher rest. The word rest is correct. Rest means we are restfully, calmly, silently contemplating inside on the Atma, on the scriptural ideas, bhajan, bhakti, kirtan, we are taking the ideas of the sages that they have spoken and bringing them inside and connecting them inside. We already know how to do this with the people of the world. We do this with our family members. We think of them incessantly. We think of extended family members. We think of other people in the world. We think of politics and religion and we think of wars and all those things we are thinking about day and night in different ways. Now, what Shankaracharya ji is saying us here, that you are able to actually rest inside a state of contemplation. Now, resting in a state of contemplation means it is a very reflective, peaceful, clear state and in that state one sees the defects of the Vishayas, one sees all that, and in that rest there is opening of wisdom. There's realization of all kinds of truths within. And that's why you will find sages, even if they're in organizations or not, even grahasthas, it could be anybody, they're so bubbling with spiritual joy because they are resting in the contemplation of God, resting in the contemplation of the divine, and so more and more opening happens from within as we begin to move into the chintan. Then you begin to rest in it, because what is the goal? The goal is to realize the Atma. If I say I want to realize God, how am I going to do that? So the gurus that are present, they are showing us, teaching us the way. And also, if we have a temple in the house and we can sit for dhyan, so some part for dhyan, for meditation, for satsang, for bhajan, kirtan, we still have cooking going on, have other things going on. The beauty of the Sanatana Dharma and other religions also, they have shown how to get into a state of enlightenment in our day-to-day activity, if that's what we want. So satsang is necessary. These ideas that are being presented here by me in this case, or contemplating on what Shankaracharya ji has stated, we are able to hold on to them and see, what is vairagya for me? What is going on inside of me? Why is my mind reacting this way? And to keep the whole picture in mind, because the sansara is actually flowing within the three gunas of Maya. So we realize that also, but we are also interacting within those three gunas with all kinds of people. That is how the economy and everything works, because of the influence of desires. But at the same time, while living in it, to stay above it. While living in it, stay above it. While being in it, not be stuck inside there, not damage oneself inside there. Ideally, take the alcohol example. If someone can have just a tiny amount of, the small amount of alcohol, like a half a beer or something like that, and they say, well, that's good enough. And they can be satisfied with that. Is that possible? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. But usually the impression is formed in the mind, and then you want that experience again and again and again. That is called vasana. Vasana is what we have experienced before, we want again. And then we want it further expanded again. That is the nature of vasana. And when we realize that is its nature and it uses energy, and that experience is temporary and short-lived, and it is based on the human ego, the me that is wanting that experience. It's ingrained neuropsychologically, biologically. So the only way to come out of that really is to see its limitation. And to see its limitation allows the mind to retract from that back into the Atma. So this is the technology of Brahma Vidya. Otherwise the Jivatma will be in the sansar for God knows how long. It will just remain in there. And you see the trouble that happens psychologically. Let's use the alcohol example. Someone is a beer drinker, let's say, and then has stopped drinking for like 6 months, 1 year. At some point, the mind will revert back in the dreams and other places, and those situations will pop up again because you still want that experience. When we want that experience, even if we are staying away from it physically, internally it's going to pop up. So then you have to work on it internally to realize that this experience is to be left alone. Because there's nothing, I'm not getting what I'm looking for from that, which is infinite joy. Cannot find infinite joy through anything in the sansar. The sansar has its certain experiences there. Yes, they are enhanced experiences. Yes, they can expand. They're also not to be rejected. But the impressions that those experiences create within has to be looked at carefully, because we don't want to be stuck in those impressions. What we want is to be able to interact with the world freely as a lila, as a play, but not get inside the entrapment of it. Because once we get entrapped by it, then what will happen is that we will want to try to find a way out by going deeper into it. You cannot go deeper into the entrapment and find a way out. It doesn't work like that. Some people who have debt, so they sometimes will borrow money from others to pay this debt, but now they've even created more debt. So you cannot solve the problem of debt by increasing debt. It's not like that. So this has to be recognized, because all of this Brahma Vidya is an inner journey towards the Paramatma, and the gurus who have reached that, they are showing how to uplift from where we are into that state. Obviously things like quick, fast money that is obtained in life by drug trade and stealing and theft and illegal behaviors and trying to win money in casinos and lottery and illegal betting, and ye jo sab shortcut people are trying to find this thing. Even if that kind of money comes, even if that kind of Aishwarya power, even people who are dictators, like of countries that they're wanting lot and they're willing to kill thousands and thousands of people for that. Even when a person gets there, that experience is so short-lived, and the amount of negative sanskar that comes with it is so intense that those sanskars crush the individual. They cannot find God. Everybody's looking for God, but they're looking in the wrong place. Looking for God in a place that only stimulative experience, certain kind of experience in Prakriti exist. And then that's it. Even someone like Hitler was there, so dictators were there. Even we have presidents and we have prime ministers and we have people are panging for these positions. How long they'll stay in that position? A couple of years? And then from a broader context, how long this body will even remain. So if the body is not going to remain, who is going to remain with us? What's going to remain with us? So that is Vairagya. So in that Virag, in that Vairagya, we are able to move through the experiences and not waste a single day. Where Brahmachintan, this exact point that Shankaracharya ji is making here, he said, stating it so beautifully, that Swalakshe Niyatavastha is that avastha, it's a state of just steady reflection. The ideas connect together, one after another, after another, after another. They connect together, and that kind of resting internally, it's called Sham Uchyate, that is called Sham. So Sham is out of the 6 virtues, this is the first one. So there's 4 sadhanas, and the Sham Damadi sadhana is the second one. Sham, Dam, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhan. There's 6 parts to that. So that is this is the definition of Sham here. Sham is that intense contemplation, beautiful contemplation, so much calmness. Like if we have good books we're reading, we're making some notes, and we are reflecting on God, and what a beautiful life that is. We're serving the community in good ways. Kitna sundar jeevan hai. But the same energy could be used to waste time watching useless things on Netflix, or watching things that are just totally going to cause some damage, like horror movies or certain kinds of experiences that prevent the contemplation on the Atma that prevent this kind of rest. See, the mind is not at rest, and we need to come to a state of rest by wisdom, and that resting is the key. Otherwise what you have there is that you're jumping from one experience to another, trying to find rest in the waves of the ocean. We cannot find rest in the waves of the ocean. We have to we have to take a dive into the ocean. The waves of the ocean are there. Up and down, up and down, up and down. The sansara is the waves of the ocean. The consciousness itself, the Brahman, is the ocean. And that is where the rest is there. And then once you are in there, even if you come out and you see the waves and everything, you're always aware of the depth of the ocean. You're always, so that is never lost. You never get caught inside the ups and downs, even though the sansara is fluctuating a lot. Then what happens, the same Devi Upasana, the same power of Mool Prakriti, it completely assists you 100% towards the Atma. The same power that was binding the individual now becomes the assist. It actually aids you completely. Question is in Vachanamrut. Muktanand Swami asked this question to Maharaj about Maya. So Maharaj said, Maya is not the issue. Maya Sukhrup bani jai. That means it becomes completely in alignment. That same power that was binding the individual, now that same power is completely going to assist the individual towards liberation all the way through. So it's not Maya that is the problem. It is not the power of Maya that is the problem. It is our individualized, egotistical lack of realization that is the problem. The energy is just raw energy. That's all it is. Yeah, I mean, you can take a knife and you can kill somebody. Can kill somebody with a knife. You can take a knife and you can also make some nice vegetables and fruits and cut them and use it in the right way. It's a tool, right? Similarly, the power of Maya can be utilized towards the Brahma Vidya if we want that. It's like brahmacharya. The people who are brahmacharis, they're taking their sexual energy and power to apply to the Brahman. Okay, that's one thing. But Grahastha, within certain range, you can have kids and other things like that. Okay, but then there's a third category of people who are just pursuing the experience further. If that happens, what happens to the energy? The energy is totally shattered from inside. Then nightmares come about. Then terrible psychological experiences happen. Diseases come. There's so much research on the power of brahmacharya. We haven't covered brahmacharya as such. I'm going to save that for a whole different series because that's an extensive subject on human sexuality. What is brahmacharya? What the nadis are? What the medha nadi is? All these ideas that are there, they're very powerful. And what is the potency of that? But the people in the sansara are just running after the experiences, the potent experiences that they're looking for. And now with the advent of technology and other things like that, those experiences are heightened, but it is causing damage to the brain. The brain itself is getting damaged by things like pornography and whatnot. It is causing massive energy reaction inside the brain, much more than ever had happened before the advent of all of this technology. And then that kind of reaction is conditioning the mind even heavily within. And then from that, the key point is internal energy gets shattered, gets damaged, so then the jiva, the atma is going to go back into the garbhavas and into the sunset. It'll drown. It's the difference between going into the depths of the ocean, fully protected and like inside a submarine or inside like a nice ship or something, and you can go inside there and really explore the ocean beautifully, as opposed to drowning in the ocean. That's the difference. The people who are running after the Vishayas, the experience of the senses, they're drowning in the sansar. And those who are taking their power and contemplating on God are able to move through the sansar freely without drowning in it. They're able to explore it and see its glory without drowning in it. How beautiful that is. We can explore the ocean and everything. But how can you explore the ocean if you're drowning in the ocean? Isn't it so? So this is a very, very critical point. in our lives, we don't need to drown in the sansar. We can be protected through the shield of Brahma Vidya, through the shield of Brahma Gnan, through the shield of Atma Gnan. And from that shield, which is the actual Raksha Kavach, from that shield, we can move in the sansar, in any place within the sansar. We can see it for what it is. We can see its full nature. We can see completely all of its twists and turns. We can also decide what to explore in there, but never drown in it. That is called Gunatit. Usko hi Gunatit kehte. Gunatit means beyond the three gunas of Maya. So that is a Gunatit state. It's a stage of realization. And again, that's what he's saying here, that the first sadhana, Sham, is this contemplation, this steadiness of contemplation within, which will eventually lead to that state of realization that we call the Gunatitah sa uchyate. In Gita also this is talked about quite a bit. Gunatit state is the state. Body is there, everything is there. Every moment, it's not even a matter of a lot of time. It can just be a few days or a few months even, or whatever. If somebody decides that I'm going to just dive into the ocean of Brahma Vidya by the protection of all the gurus and all, whole Prakriti is going to realign so you can do that. That is the power of the intention. If Sachin decides, and I have tried this myself and I still do that also, and I've experienced this is true, that if I say that I want to keep my attention on God only, then everything realigns around my life. It happened multiple times, and it will happen if हम निर्धार करेंगे कि भगवान में ही वृत्ति रखनी है, one way or another. Then the Brahma Vidya opens up, scriptures open up, they open up from inside, and you want to just be in that again and again and again. And while you're performing the activity, sansar ka activity chalta hai, no problem, but there is a growth from inside that is like none other. There's nothing like that. There's nothing like this. And on that basis, one actually becomes or transforms into that liberated being, becomes that butterfly from the caterpillar. One realizes the Atma. And then in that realization, there is constant new spiritual experience. So when a person goes to sleep at night, they're not going to sleep at night with just the experiences of Prakriti. The nighttime experience is transcendental. These are the higher things that happen. Okay, so we'll stop here for today and we'll continue tomorrow.